I'm going to combine the remaining days of my video diary here. Not a whole lot happened for a couple days. We had lots of watches and warnings, but probably 98% of the snow squalls went to our south anyway, so there's really nothing to see. But I'm going to start this video with a glimpse into our future and the forecasts that they're giving us.
Pattern change on the way as we get into the holidays for North America. We're going to talk about where the cold goes next. Doug, I'll let you take over with this map.
Well, the Arctic air has been aimed at the Great Lakes, but the next shot that as it builds over northern Canada will be aimed further to the west,
right
across the Canadian prairies, the northern plains, and eventually towards the Great Lakes. But as it does so, we're going to see a real surge of warmth heading north from the Gulf of Mexico. That sets up a very tight temperature boundary.
The Canadian prairies really haven't seen much in the way of really cold Arctic air yet, so this is a big shift for them. You'd mentioned the mild air going all the way to the Canadian Maritimes. That boundary right through the Great Lakes between the 22nd, 27th, somewhere around there. That's something to watch closely.
A very active storm track expects several systems that will be tapping into Gulf moisture. We haven't had many systems like that so far this year. And the exact location of that boundary, uncertain. South of the boundary, typically going to be mild with rain. North, you're going to see snow. But in between, we're concerned about a significant amount of freezing rain potential. Way too early to know exactly where that will be. This is just one model scenario, not to give you a forecast, but to highlight the potential from this pattern. Large systems, abundant Gulf moisture that produce significant snow, rain, and ice. And we're not just talking one system. We're likely to have several systems during the pre-Christmas, Christmas, and even the days after that.
A lot of people, I mean, for me, it comes to mind, 2013, Southern Ontario saw a major ice storm. It's something that we could see again. I mean, if this is a prolonged, we don't know where, but if it's a prolonged event, it could be something to really watch seriously. Power outages and that kind of potential right through the holidays.
And certainly travel, highly impacting travel as we go into and even beyond the holidays. And this active storm track likely continuing through the holidays as we head towards New Year's. It looks like that boundary will be pushing a little bit further to the south and east. Arctic air taking over most of Canada and the northern U.S., but continuing to have a lot of several systems along the boundary in between the two.
All right, we'll keep a close eye on it. Keep it here at theweathernetwork.com for the latest.
So this was the last day of my video diary, and I didn't get anything today. At this point, all the systems moving through, or snow squalls and everything, seem to be complete for now. So this is where I kind of brought it to a close. But yesterday, I'm going to show yesterday's time lapse at the end of this video, if you want to see it. It was quite spectacular, I guess you could say. They got dumped on pretty good, and several times, and each time lasted quite a good time. So if you look outside the shelter, you can see all that nice fresh snow since I had the blower out there. But today I'm taking the ES9, I was going to say monster. Taking the ES950 apart. Yeah, I'm so used to saying monster when I say that. And I'm just getting frustrated with all the electrical problems, not being able to figure it out. So I'm going to take everything apart, and I'm going to see if I can determine what's loose, because obviously something in there is loose. So, yeah, of course, I hate working in the cold. I don't have a choice. So I have gloves on, and the seat's being a bit of a problem. But it's hard working on things with bare hands when it's cold like this. So I am starting with gloves on, see what I can do. Now this I'm not going to show this full speed. I'm going to show actually kind of as it happens. I'll probably cut parts out, whatever. But I'll kind of give commentary when there's something specific that I want to talk about here. Now I want to mention at this point that the batteries in this scooter fit so tightly, they are so difficult to remove. They're not nearly as heavy as the Monster's batteries. The Monster's batteries actually have handles on the batteries themselves, and you can use the handles to lift them out. Batteries in the ES950 do not have handles on them. You have to get your fingers around them, and that is very difficult to do in this tight space. And each battery has its own tray that it's sitting in, and the battery fits into that tray so tightly that they might as well be part of the battery, because even after I take the batteries out, it's really difficult to get the trays off the batteries themselves. And when they're sitting in the scooter, the hold down straps that go around the battery actually go through the trays themselves, so they're wedged between the battery and the tray, and then they go down underneath and wrap around the frame, and that's what holds everything tight. So when I need to get the batteries out, I undo the straps, and it really doesn't do much. So in the summertime it's not as bad because I don't have gloves on, and I sort of kind of force the batteries to tilt forward a little bit, just enough where I can get my fingertips in behind and just kind of tilt them out and force them up. And as I'm forcing them up, the battery straps are kind of yanked down through the holes. And it's a lot of work to do that, but I'm wearing gloves today, so I can't really get my fingers in behind. So I'm grabbing my snowblower unplugger stick, I'm not sure if there's an actual term for it, and kind of wedge it in behind, force the battery forward just so I can get them out. This is just step one, just getting these batteries out so I can start taking everything else apart. And once I get the batteries out, on to the next chore. The hole where the seat post goes through, there's just a small opening in front of it, and the battery plugs have to go through that hole almost at the same time because they're right together, and whoever designs these scooters, they don't leave any extra of anything. So there's no extra wire to play with to push one down before the other. It's everything's such tight tolerances that makes them so difficult to work on. But in order to get the back panel off, which is only held on by Velcro, by the way, I can't lift it from the back because the wiring is there. There's wires attached to it for the taillights, and I can't lift it from the front because these battery plugs are blocking the hole. So it's gonna kind of play with it a little bit at a time, one side at a time. And after struggling with it for a while, I realized the battery is sitting on one of the straps, and the strap is what's holding the front end down. Moved that out of the way, and I'm finally able to lift it up, no problem. So after a quick inspection, I don't see anything obviously wrong. I clear off some of the snow that's built up and get my keys out and turn the scooter on to see what the display is doing, and it's blank. But I kind of got to laugh at myself here because obviously it's going to be blank. I have the batteries disconnected. At this point, I have the scooter turned on. I can see the display, and I'm gonna kind of wiggle each of the plugs and see if the display changes any. If I get any kind of flickering or anything, then I'll know where to concentrate my efforts. I'm trying to figure out where the loose wiring is. You can see me wiggling the key there and just confirming it's not actually the key switch that's causing the problem, like it has in the past. So I removed and replaced all the plugs on the controller. Yeah, at the moment I'm looking at a fuse. I'm not sure what this fuse is for. I've had a problem with it before. So as long as the scooter's working, I know the fuse is good, so I'm not going to test it. But it does have some crap on it that I'm cleaning off. The frustration's mounting. I still can't find anything wrong. I start concentrating on the key switch again. Still not 100% convinced it's not being the problem. Then, after a short break, I decide it's time to start exploring farther. Didn't want to have to get to this point, but still haven't found the issue, so I gotta keep searching. I don't know why I keep checking the strip light. Even if the batteries were not connected to the scooter, it would still work because it's hardwired directly to one of the batteries. So I keep checking it to see if the scooter's got power, and it doesn't even relate to it. So once again, it's this one battery plug. I was shaking it there, and I was actually getting a flash on the display. So, I don't know. It might just be this battery plug. there you have it. Everything's working fine now. Get a full display, turn it off, turn it back on, everything's good. Apparently it was the plug. So, a little bit perturbed. Took everything apart, and it seems the problem was just the battery plug again. So before I put it back together, take a nice long break. Well, not really a break, but if you look outside you can see that I took the snowblower out again, cleaned up. So now I gotta put the scooter all back together again. Well, got everything back together. Take the scooter out for a cruise and test drive. You see me looking off to the left there. I'm seeing something in the sky. And my mind is just kind of going crazy trying to figure out what it is I'm seeing. It's unlike anything I've seen before. So I'm trying to get to a spot where it's in the open. And this looks good. And I'm just staring at it, just trying to think any possibility of what it is I'm looking at. So at this point, I decide to turn the scooter towards it so I can get it on camera. And wouldn't you know it, the camera's pointing too low. So I'll be one of those accounts where, somebody says, I saw a UFO, and nobody's gonna believe it. I have no idea what I'm looking at. I'm not saying it's a UFO, but well, to me it is. It's unidentified flying object. But if you've ever seen UFO videos where people show a series of lights that are all moving at the same speed together, this is what I'm looking at. There's 3 lights, kind of almost in a V shape, but it's not a symmetrical V. That's the best way I can put it. 3 really bright lights, and they're slowly moving across the sky. And there's no noise. We do have commercial jumbo jets that fly by. They're in singles, they're not in triplets. If they were helicopters or small planes, the distance that they appear to be away, I would definitely hear them. So I have no clue what this is. I have no explanation for it, but I wish I'd got it on camera so I could at least show you what it is I'm seeing. I had to Timmy, got myself a coffee. All the way there, you can see just how bumpy it is. So all the wires are getting rattled around. I made it there, all the way back home, and never had a problem. And the scooter's going nice and fast, full power, full battery reading. So I think I might have the problem solved. I'm hoping. So that's it for this video. I'm going to show time lapse from yesterday and the big pounding of snow that we got. So nothing else in this video, so if you're not interested, you don't have to watch. You can stop watching here. So if you made it this far, thanks for watching.
Beep, beep, beep. Not as much. Fucking annoying, so I just get it.
Oh, yeah. You got an alarm on that thing?
Nope.
Look, he's got everything on it. Fucking camera. He's got GoPro. Jesus.
Everything except for a heater.
Nice. Oh, yeah, that's what you do need is a heater, I guess.
Oh, I need handlebar heaters.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
You know what's funny is my dad used to have one, and I said that to him. I go, I don't understand why they wouldn't put handlebar heaters on these things for people. Because, like, you go everywhere on it, but your fucking hands freeze.
Yep. Like, people don't realize you're colder when you drive these things because you're not generating any heat.
Exactly.
You're just sitting there. It's like sitting on a tractor.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
And of course you get all the bumps.
Oh yeah. This time of the year, I know sidewalks are a lot more bumpy, right?
Yeah.